3:45 in the morning. The Black Sea is silent. Fog hangs low over Sevastopol harbor. Two massive Russian landing ships sit docked at the pier, the Yamal, the Azov. Their hulls are packed with tanks, armored vehicles, and enough ammunition to level a small city. In less than 30 minutes, both ships will cease to exist. What happened in those 30 minutes rewrote the rules of modern naval warfare. A coordinated strike so precise, so layered, that Russia's most defended port, a fortress bristling with air defenses, jamming systems, and drone interceptors, was torn apart by an attacker with a fraction of its firepower. This is the story of how Ukraine turned the Black Sea into a graveyard. Sevastopol isn't just another port. It's the crown jewel of Russia's Black Sea fleet. For centuries, this harbor has been the symbol of Russian naval power. From the Crimean War, to the Soviet era, to today. When Russia annexed Crimea in 2014, they inherited the most fortified naval base in the region. Layers of air defense, electronic warfare systems capable of blinding satellites, patrol boats, reconnaissance drones, a defensive network designed to make any attack suicidal. The Yamal and Azov were docked there precisely because Sevastopol was supposed to be untouchable. Both ships were large landing craft, each capable of carrying 13 main battle tanks or 36 armored personnel carriers. They were loaded to capacity, ready to reinforce Russian positions across the peninsula. Ukraine had other plans. At 3:45 local time, a swarm of weapons began moving toward the harbor. 6 cruise missiles, 4 unmanned boats, a single reconnaissance drone watching everything from above. The Russians had no idea what was coming. They thought they did. They were wrong. Here's what makes this attack extraordinary. Ukraine didn't just throw missiles at a target and hope for the best. They orchestrated a symphony of deception, electronic warfare, and precision strikes, each element designed to exploit a specific Russian weakness. Every decoy had a purpose. Every sacrifice opened a door. And when the final missiles punched through, they didn't just hit the ships. They triggered a chain reaction that turned Sevastopol's waterfront into an inferno. By 4:12, it was over. Both ships, their cargo, gone. Let me show you exactly how they did it. Phase 1. The bait. The attack began with 4 unmanned boats racing toward the harbor. The Muravi 5, small, fast, and expendable. But only 2 of these boats carried warheads. The other 2 were decoys. And they weren't just decoys. They were broadcasting taunting signals, deliberately drawing attention to themselves. Russia's Buk M 3 air defense system took the bait. Operators tracked the incoming threats and opened fire. 12 missiles, 12 of their 48 ready interceptors, expended on targets worth almost nothing. While Russian eyes were locked on the boats, 6 Flamingo FP-5 cruise missiles were skimming the waves at 250 feet, invisible against the sea clutter. Each one weighed 13,000 pounds. Each one was flying at 540 miles per hour. The real attack hadn't even registered yet. Phase 2. Blinding the Giant. Then Russia activated Pole 21. This is one of the most sophisticated GPS jamming systems ever deployed. Within seconds, it blanketed 90 miles in electronic noise. Satellite signals scrambled. Navigation systems thrown into chaos. One Ukrainian cruise missile veered off course immediately, lost to the jamming. But Ukraine had anticipated this. Their Bayraktar TB2 drone, circling high above the harbor, switched from GPS to inertial navigation. Autonomous mode, no satellite link required. And then came the counterpunch. One of the remaining Flamingos wasn't aimed at the ships, it was aimed at the Pole 21 antenna cluster. Direct hit. The jamming stopped. Russia responded by activating Murmansk BN, an even more powerful system. Another missile lost. But Ukraine had already punched through the first wall. 4 Flamingos remained. Phase 3. Drone War. Now the Russians launched their own drones. 5 serious reconnaissance strike platforms screamed toward the Ukrainian boats. They found their target. One Muravi 5 exploded under drone fire, but the TB2 was still watching. It spotted the lead Sirius and relayed its position. One of the surviving Flamingos broke formation and intercepted. The explosion took out 2 Russian drones, a cruise missile, a weapon designed to sink ships, used as an air-to-air interceptor. Improvisation under fire. 3 flamingos left, 1 more of the 5 remaining. The inner harbor was now in range. Phase 4. The final wall. Sevastopol's last line of defense was the Palma close-in weapon system. This is a point defense nightmare. Twin autocannons firing 10,000 rounds per minute, designed to shred anything that gets too close. It opened fire. 1 flamingo disintegrated under the barrage, but the Palma was struggling. Sea clutter from the fog, a 6-degree roll from the waves. The surviving missile and boat were zigzagging, throwing off targeting solutions. Decoy signals from the FPV drones added to the chaos. Just a military victory, it was a message. Sevastopol was supposed to be impenetrable. Russia had spent decades fortifying it. Air defenses, electronic warfare, drone interceptors, layers upon layers of protection. Ukraine broke through all of it with a handful of missiles, some unmanned boats, and a single reconnaissance drone. The losses tell the story. Ukraine sacrificed 2 boats and 2 missiles. Russia lost 2 major warships, 2 drones, a jamming node, and every piece of equipment those ships were carrying. Tanks that would take months to replace. An amphibious reinforcement capability that simply no longer exists. But the real damage was psychological. Every Russian commander watching the Black Sea now knows the truth. There is no safe harbor. There is no fortress strong enough. The calculus of naval power in this region has fundamentally changed. Ukraine proved that technology, coordination, and tactical creativity can overcome raw firepower, that a smaller force fighting smarter can gut a superpower's fleet in 27 minutes. The Yamal and Azov now rest at the bottom of Sevastopol harbor. Russia has slowed operations across the entire peninsula. Resupply lines are fractured. Confidence is shattered. And somewhere over the Black Sea, another TB2 is circling, watching, waiting. The next strike could come tonight, tomorrow, next week. The Russians don't know when, they just know it's coming, and there's nothing they can do to stop it.